Alright, welcome to another video. I have been trying to find the perfect spot to film get ready with me videos, and I feel like I found it. I've been wanting to do a get ready with me and showing how I'm using the Shop My Stash products, but they've all been coming out so bad I can't find the right lighting in my room, and I feel like I found it. So hopefully next week I can get one of those up and show you how I'm using the products. But for now I'm just going to kind of run through everything I picked out and tell you how it worked out, or whether it not how it worked, or whether it didn't work. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, let's just get started. So the first thing is the L'Oreal Iconic New York Collection palette. I loved this. I really loved having just one palette to work with the whole week. I did have a few other singles and stuff to pull out, but I loved kind of really digging into one palette, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. That shade right there turned out to be like one of my absolute favorites. These three right here I feel like are kind of, I don't know, even if they weren't in the palette, I feel like that's still a great palette. They're really hard to pick up. They don't show up at all. And yeah, those three are really duds, but the rest are so good. I love this palette so much. I'm going to actually end with that thing because it was the best thing of the week. Another thing I loved was the IT Cosmetics CC Radiance palette. I loved this bronzer. It looks really deep and dark in the pan, but using like a nice like fluffy brush, it went on so well. I loved it. The powder was so good. It reminded me of the Milani powder. I really, really liked it. And the blush was one I found myself reaching for regularly as well. I love this little palette. Really good little trio there. The Kiko Heart, what is this? Multicolor blush in the shade Loving Pink Flame. This didn't really work for me this week. And I think it's because the powders I had were making me look so white that this just came off as way too pink. Normally I do like it, but this week it was just a little over the top. This is the No. 7 Glamorous Nudes Eye Palette. I do like this palette, but I think because I loved the L'Oreal one so much, this one just kind of, I don't know, I pulled a few shades from it here and there, but I mostly focused on that other palette. This is a good palette. There's a lot of glitter in it, a lot of shimmer, a lot of glitter fallout, but it's a fun one to work with if you just want like some nice really shimmery shades. The eyebrows I had this week were the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer Pencil. I'm going to put this in the Shop My Stash every week until I use it up because I just have it. I need to use it. I do enjoy it, but I really like the powder a lot more. But it's a good pencil. And then the Essence Make Me Brow. I really, really like this. I wish I had a little bit more hold to it, but I love the shade. I love how the brush is like cleaned off just perfectly. I don't feel the need to scrape any of the excess off. I really, really enjoy that. This one wasn't that great for me this week. It's the Honest Beauty Luminizing Powder in the shade Dusk Reflection. I normally really like this bronzer, but for some reason, and I feel like it's because those powders are making me look so white, this looked too dark on my skin, and I always felt like I was overdoing it every time I used it. But normally it is a good palette, or a good powder, but this week it just wasn't doing it for me. This is the No. 7 limited edition bronzer shimmer palette. This one came out last year for their holiday stuff. If you can see, oh my gosh, I'll just open it. It looks like this. I really enjoy this. I like when you dust all of them together, the shades don't like blend all together in the pan. They stay separated. But I usually kind of like pick and choose with the brush the shades that I want to use as either highlight or on my eyes. But I do really enjoy this. They're really intense and really frosty, but I really like it. Another blush that was just way over the top is the C.Y.O blush in the shade Crush on Blush. This is how the little packaging looks. The shade is really, really pretty, but again, I was looking so light. This was so over the top. I don't know why, but yeah, normally it is a good product. Let's see, the Butter London Glazing Eye Glosses. I have the shade Oil Slick and the shade Brazen. This is how they look. I really enjoy these. So they don't look that good when you have no eyeshadow on. Like I've put these on just my bare lids and they don't look that good. The color doesn't really show up. All you're going to see is glitter. But when you put them on top of your eyeshadow or on top of one of these cream eyeshadows I pulled out, they look awesome. They dry down so well. They're so glittery and shimmery. That's why they kind of look like glossy, because they have so much shimmer and glitter in them, not because they stay wet at all. But I really, really enjoy these. I got these like at the Ulta 21-day sale, and I really like them a lot. The highlighter from Jouer, this is the powder highlighter in the shade Ice. I really love this. This is one of my favorite highlighters anyway. And you know what? I have some swatches there already. So I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, but it is right there. I really love this. It looks really white in the pan, but it comes off kind of champagne-y, golden. I really, really like that a lot. The two foundations I had, there's the other one. This is the Make Up For Ever Ultra HD. I did end up finishing this. I loved this foundation. I loved it every single time I used it. I loved putting it on with the brush towards the end, that Wet n Wild brush. I loved it. I really like this and I would love to repurchase it in the future. And then the Rimmel Lasting Finish. I did use this with the damp sponge because the coverage is a little much for what I really like now. So I do use the damp sponge to kind of thin it out a little bit. But then I came to love the coverage of this because I didn't have to use any concealers. Speaking of concealers, the two that I pulled out I did not like at all, which luckily the foundation covered so much I didn't need concealer because these two, I don't know what's going on with them. This is the Ready Set Gorgeous Concealer from CoverGirl. This is so light. Like, normally I go for one of the lightest shades in the range. This was so white though. Like, it did not look good. I didn't like anything about the application. It is a like a sponge, like doe foot kind of applicator, but there's such a little amount on there that I had to just dab forever, and it just lightened up my face a little too much. I did not enjoy it. Another one I didn't really care for was the CoverGirl Outlast All Day Concealer. This is in a squeezy tube and it has a sponge tip applicator. This one I didn't like because the shade was okay on this one, but I didn't like having to squeeze it out and then like dabbing it all over my face, because when you brush it like this, it would move my foundation around. And I didn't really care for the way it blended. The shade was fine, but this isn't one I'm going to find myself reaching for very often. And then that powder that I kept complaining about that's making me look so white was the Maybelline Better Skin Superstay Skin Transforming Powder. I have loved this powder in the past. It reminds me so much of the Benefit Hello Flawless powder, and I love that one. It's so smooth and just silky. I do find this is a good powder for touching up throughout the day. Like, say you got really oily, it's summertime, whatever, blotting with the powder, this is really good for that. But setting your whole face with it, I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it. It was, well, maybe just for me, it was so matte and lightening. Like, it just, I don't know. I just did not enjoy it this week. The primer from L'Oreal, the Visible Lift Radiance Booster, I loved this. I really, really love this primer a lot. It was, it felt really just like a face lotion. It has like a pink tone to it. See how it's kind of runny? It's not very thick, and it just like, I just really loved this. It has no scent whatsoever. I did it on the side of my hand. What am I doing? Anyway, it says it's radiance boosting. I don't notice any sort of shimmer or glitter or any sort of like noticeable radiance. It's just very moisturizing. It adds a little glow to your face, but not in a noticeable way, especially if you're putting foundation on top. This helped my foundation glide on so well, and I really, really, really liked it. And I loved that it had no fragrance. A couple more of the eyeshadows that I had pulled out. We're almost done. This is the Revlon cream eyeshadow in the shade 710. I did swatch that one right here. This one. That middle one, actually. I really, really like this cream eyeshadow from Revlon. It dries down a little fast, so work a little quickly, but it is so freaking smooth and it blends so well. This is one of the shadows I loved using underneath the Butter London eyeglasses, and I really liked it. This little shadow called Pop Goes the Shadow from Elizabeth Mott. I got this in an Ipsy bag. I really like this little tiny shadow. I loved having this because there were no shades like this in either of those palettes I pulled, and I really liked having this. I think I'm going to depot it though and just stick it in a palette because this little thing's kind of like getting all flimsy. And then the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick, I did swatch that one right there. You can see. Love this. This was like one of the smoothest, creamiest, best shadow sticks ever. It's like a champagne shade. I think the shade's rose gold. And when I would use this, I would go directly to my eye and no tugging, no skipping, no streaking. It was so smooth. I loved this. I really, really liked this a lot. And then a few things I didn't get a chance to try out because I loved the other things so much was the Jelly Pong Pong eyeshadow duo. I know I already like this, but I didn't get a chance to use it this week. The number 7 Error Brush Away Primer, didn't get a chance to use it. And then the Smashbox primers, I didn't get a chance to use either. And I think because I was loving the L'Oreal one so much. And then the last thing, oh my gosh, this mascara combo was amazing. I don't usually layer my mascaras, but the Benefit They're Real Tinted Primer with the Tarte Lights Camera Lashes mascara was freaking amazing. I don't really like this mascara on its own. I feel like it does absolutely nothing. But this primer, holy moly. It is a brown primer. It kind of has the same brush as the regular They're Real mascara, but it doesn't dry like that one does. That one dries very hard. So when you're trying to wash it off, it like feels like it's never going to soften up. This one is just the primer, so it dries, but not really hard over the top. It dries down just enough that combing a mascara through it is so nice, but it lets the mascara build on top of the primer. This was such a good little duo. I loved it, and I was so surprised that it made me really like this mascara a lot. So I'm really excited to see what this primer will do for the other mascaras in my little collection that I don't like, because I loved it. And yeah, I think that is it. That's all I have today for the Shop My Stash. I loved Shop My Stash so much. I didn't stray. I really only used the products that I pulled, even though I was just like, oh my god, I hate these powders already. Give me my Milani powder. But I loved it. I thought it was really fun. It helped me use a lot of products I wouldn't really reach for on a regular basis and kind of either give me a new thought on the product or kind of solidify that I already don't like it. So yeah, I will be showing tomorrow the products I'm pulling for next week. They're going to be all drugstore products, and I'm really excited to share it. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. See you in another video. Goodbye.